All right, guys.
Can you open that?
I can think about it.
We have our first call-in of the day.
Yeah.
Jim Sterling. Is Jim with us? One moment. Just getting switched over.
Loading Jim.
Jim.
Hey.
Jim. Nice hat.
Yeah.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm alright, I'm splendid, thank you very much. How are you all?
Tired.
Uh-huh.
A little punch drunk.
Just a little tired.
A little
As
tired.
a show of solidarity, I slept in this morning.
Oh, nice.
We appreciate it.
I think that's the opposite of solidarity.
Yeah.
actually.
How comfortable was your bed? Was it very?
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's an expensive mattress.
Uh,
I feel like I'm fighting the fight in my own way.
we appreciate it. For anybody who doesn't know, would you like to introduce yourself?
Anybody who doesn't know who I am are not worth addressing.
Fair enough.
That is
Some
fair.
Poor, unfortunate souls.
You have the internet. Google it.
The lost and the damned.
Yes.
But I'm Jim Sterling, if they don't know. I host the Jimquisition at The Escapist. I'm also The Escapist's newly minted reviews editor. So I'm in charge of all that lot. And yeah, I do videos on the internet.
So that's exciting.
Like everybody else does.
So I believe you called in before, have you not?
Yes, this is my third
It is your third year.
go of it, yeah.
So you know about all the insanity that we do here. So that's good.
All the craziness.
All the craziness.
Oh, yeah.
So generally we have, you know what I'm actually going to do right off the start, just so I don't forget? I'm going to do the $7 superhero challenge, because I will forget.
Okay.
Or if you'd like, I could give you the length of the call to think about this. But this is what's happening. Some generous people have said that they will donate $7 for every superhero call-in or a guest or really anybody comes up with. So the idea is you need to create a superhero, name it, and give us a special, one of their powers, like what they would do.
Right.
So would you like some time to think about that while I maybe ask you some questions for the blog, or do you want to just tackle that now?
Give me a few.
All right, that sounds good. I will lead off the questioning with, how many ukuleles do you own?
Currently, I'm in a ukulele Actually, to be honest, I'm in a ukulele debt.
You owe ukuleles.
Oh.
That's a new one.
New ones.
I owe several traveling bards
No.
after one too many games of chance.
All right, good answer. Good answer.
Watch your kneecaps.
Yeah, those ukulele collectors can be quite the pain. Somebody's asking, Lazy Lantern asks, where do you get the inspiration for all the non-gaming segments on the Jimquisition, the banter before and after sort of the meat of the episode?
Inspiration implies that anything good is happening there. It is mostly just a case of turning on the camera and then just chatting shit.
All right.
More or less, it's just talking bollocks.
Okay. When and where did you get your start in game journalism?
Well, I started doing games writing just as a kind of hobby thing. I worked for a site called Project Wonderboy. They're no longer around. That's true of my entire life. Anywhere where I go to is no longer around. Project Wonderboy, that shut down. When I went to college, the whole subject curriculum shut down.
Wow.
The hospital I was born in is destroyed. Makes me worry about Destructoid. I'm sure they'll be fine.
So you phoning into Desert Bus is actually
It's
quite
probably a
Dangerous?
bad idea.
Are we in danger?
Oh no!
I have given the lootist your address.
If you consider yourself the official Mysterio of video games, who is SpiderMan?
Who is the Spider-Man? My good friend Jonathan Holmes, I think, is the Spider-Man. He's a Destructoid editor. And it is my dream to actually get him bitten by every single spider I can find, in the hopes that one is radioactive. Simple probability is on my side.
Yeah.
And then he will become the Spidered Man and swing about in Boston and get into fights with bikers.
Or get cancer. One of the two.
All
It's
right.
it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Hyperion really wants me to ask, what is your stance on Chungus for the children?
Oh.
What's that? Someone's obviously not a fan of Chungus for the children. I dedicate a lot of my heart and soul into Chungus for the children. I believe that every child should have a Chungus for Christmas. And with hard work and dedication, we will make that dream come true.
Fantastic. There you go. I asked the question. Somebody would like to know what your guilty pleasure games are. And I would like to know this too, actually.
That would imply that I feel any shame in the games I play. I'm very public about my love of Dynasty Warriors, and that's about as the bottom of the barrel as people get, I think. I guess the furthest I would go would be Blood Rain, the old PS2 hack and slash with the Dampier done by Terminal Reality. Not the new one, I didn't cop the new one very much, but the old PS2 Blood Rain games. Good stuff.
Okay. Somebody is asking, you've mentioned you've been getting into pen and paper role-playing a few times. Is there any games you're playing right now?
Yeah, we are doing a Kingdoms of Calabar game at the moment. It's 3rd edition D&D. It's a discontinued setting, but it's a very good setting. Like, world building and lore and fluff is a big part of it. Every different region of the world has different languages, and you've got to actually take levels in language to get stuff. It's very in-depth, and all sorts of cleric variants, because there's like dozens of different gods that replace all your turn undead stuff with other stuff. Like a guy in our party is a cleric of the landlord, which is all about profiteering and everything. He turns stuff into gold, all that stuff. I play Vox the Profane, a dread slaver, one of the classes for Kingdoms of Calabar, whose job is to find elves and put chains on them.
Nice.
It's a lovely little thing.
Cool. This is definitely the game industry question right now. You've mentioned Xbox One and PS4 a lot on Jimquisition, but what is your feeling on Nintendo? Do you think they will be able to recover from what they consider the marketing gap that is the Wii U?
I don't know. I mean, like, I'll walk into my house and I'll see the Wii U in the corner and I'll just look at it and go, oh. And that's really the feeling I've got. It's a lovely little system and I really hope it does well. I love the Wii U, but you do kind of just get this, oh, you want to ruffle its hair and just feel sad for it. But, I mean, who knows? Super Mario 3D World, I don't think it's out yet. Is it tomorrow or something? Anyway, it looks fantastic. The games they're running on it they're all quality, so I'm sure it will find its place, but I don't think it's going to, I don't think Nintendo are going to be interested in keeping it around for as long as they did the Wii.
Okay.
I mean, it seems almost like the Wii U is one of those things where they're not even really competing with the Xbox and
the PlayStation 4,
PlayStation.
yeah.
They're just like off in their own little world, and people who like that will like it, and they'll just keep doing that.
I mean, it's always been Nintendo's strength in that they kind of play a different game than everyone else. So things that often have negative impacts on the game industry don't necessarily affect them. But then that cuts both ways, because then good things in the industry that's benefiting people don't really affect them either. So they're just this weird separate bubble that sometimes does well and sometimes does not. So they'll always be around, I think, at least for the time being. I don't think the Wii U is going to ruin them or anything like that. I just think they're going to get bored of it more quickly than they have their previous system.
Okay.
I like somebody in the chat says, I like the Wii U, it's a game console, not just a crappier version of my PC.
That why.
We have a fan here of your movie Defense Force videos, and he's wondering if there's any movie you feel like any movie is undefendable. It's so bad, so awful that there's just no redeeming qualities worth defending. I mean,
Thousands of them.
Yeah.
Thousands of them.
Yeah.
I actually stopped, when I first started the show, I used to fire up Netflix and just look at random films. I don't do that anymore. It's upsetting. The line for me was a movie called Scarecrows, which is about killer scarecrows. I thought, well, this might be entertaining. It's not entertaining. Go and watch Scarecrows. It's on Netflix. I can't even describe it, but I think they actually try and turn people into scarecrows. That they cut you open and put straw up you or something. I blocked most of it from my mind, but it's yeah, that film and thousands of others are indefensible. I won't do Attack of the Clones either.
Okay.
So like, was the original idea for Movie Defense Force was that it would be that like you would find something good about any movie regardless of how bad people thought about it, or did you have specific movies in mind?
It was actually, I got the idea because I was talking with Alexander McCrease, who manages The Escapist, at the Escapist Expo before the last one, so like the first Escapist Expo. And he sat me down and just said, why do you like Alien 3? Why? And I had to explain. I spent like 10 minutes just having a go at him as to why Alien 3 is this fantastic film that didn't get enough credit. And really, from there, I just thought, well, that could be a show. I could do that a lot. I'll start looking at bad films on Netflix and see what I can find. So, yeah, that's that. And plus, my wife telling me that all the films I like are terrible. And so every episode is just me telling my wife, no.
Of the movies that you've done so far, which did you find to be the hardest to defend?
The hardest to defend, probably Godzilla, the more recent one, the American version with the big chin.
Yeah.
Because I remember really liking it when I saw it back in the 90s or whenever. And then I rewatched it Wednesday morning. I'd left it to like, it was Wednesday morning and the show goes up on Thursday. And I realized it was a very boring film. It's about 2.5 hours. It only needed to be 1 hour. You can skip the first 20 minutes until the fish come out of the water. Then you can watch that bit and then you can just shave off all the ending. But I realized that I'd left it too late to do anything else, so I just kind of muddled through it, and then in the video ends with me just abruptly saying, I can't do this. It's more boring than I thought, but I've got to do it anyway, so I still did it.
All right.
I really appreciate that Godzilla movie can be denoted by the Godzilla with the chin.
Yeah, that was funny too.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Man, there are a lot of questions about Chungus in this thread. All right. Dear Dr. Jim, is there anything that you won't cover in Jimquisition? Are there anything that is considered off limits to you?
Never really thought about it. I don't think there's anything I've considered covering that won't for moral or intellectual reasons. I mean, there are some things, some people give me like suggestions for stuff to cover and I won't cover it just because there's not a lot to say. You know, what do you think about game reviewers accepting bribes? Nothing, because I've never met a game reviewer who's done that. So, you know, and there are other things where it's just, the thing being said is just so cut and dry for me, I could do it in a sentence and that would be a video. Right. And I've tried doing sentence-long videos for fun on The Escapist, and Escapist reviewers hate them, so.
All right, okay. Can we expect a poem about Willem Dafoe anytime soon? A very serious question, clearly.
One should expect nothing.
It's a good life advice. Will you be doing any more work with Total Biscuits anytime soon? He says you two were the most hilarious combo ever when you appeared on the Co-optional podcast. Oh,
thank you. Yes. My YouTube work is on the Polaris Network, which is the same network he's on. He and I have been discussing things. We're both waiting for November to get out of the way before we really discuss anything serious, because obviously November is one of the worst times for game reviewers in terms of having any spare time.
Right.
So after that, yeah, me and Biscuit might be doing some more stuff together.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. Is this true that you're working on a musical?
No.
See, I heard you're working on a musical. How's that coming? Where would they get that kind of information? I don't understand.
I mean, I've made many jokes about writing musicals on my podcast.
Oh, okay.
Mostly to upset my friend Jonathan Holmes, because they're mostly musicals about like living inside his arsehole. You know, and we were working on Dragon Ball Z Out of Their Shells, the live tour to go around schools. But no, I'm not actually working on any kind of musical.
Okay.
Although that would be to spend that amount of effort on a joke like that and actually like make a fully produced musical that would ran on Broadway would be pretty amazing. It's no doubt that would be an impressive.
It would be a long gag.
Yeah.
There's merit in it.
Somebody is wondering about your opinions on Steambox.
I think it's indicative of a lot of the way consumer technology is going right now. We've got the big mainstream stuff. We've got the stuff everybody gets. You can bring out an iPhone or an iPad, and that's got millions of people buying it. You've got Android OS, which most people have when they have a cell phone. You've got all that kind of stuff. Now we're seeing more specialized things, like one of those, which I love this thing, the NVIDIA Shield. A lot of people will look at that and say, what's the point of that? I don't see any value in that. But to me, an Android-powered controller thing like that is exactly what I wanted. I didn't know it till I played it, but it's exactly what I wanted. And people are saying the same about the Steambox. Of, well, I've already got a PC, what do I need this for? But there are all these people who are into PC gaming who, real or not, their perception is that it's an impenetrable kind of market to get into. Oh, it's expensive, you need to know a lot about computers to get the thing optimized. The Steambox simplifies that. It might not be something that is appealing to the hardcore gamer, but there's a market for it. And because we've already got things specialized for more mass markets, like consoles and whatnot, these more sort of specified, laser-focused systems are starting to come out more, and I think we're going to see a lot more of them.
Cool. Okay.
Have you got a chance to try the Steambox controller?
I have not currently, no. I don't tend to, because I do almost, when it comes to game media coverage stuff, it's almost entirely reviews now, so I don't actually go and try stuff out at events and do previewy type things. So I've got no idea how that thing feels, but I'm bloody curious.
Yeah, it's amazing. You hear all these. It sounds crazy, but you see tons of sort of people who are big in the industry, and the guys from Super Meat Boy and all these things saying it's great. So I don't know, but.
All right. Before we get to your superhero, somebody wants to know what you're doing with the rest of your day. It's Thursday, right? What does Thursday look for Jim? For Jim?
I will probably try and script a Jimquisition maybe tonight and get that recorded when the house is empty. Otherwise, I'll be probably playing a bit more Tearaway on the PS Vita, which is adorable. So good.
Which game? Sorry.
Tearaway. It's done by the Little Big Planet guys.
Okay.
It's a lovely game. And I'll probably be playing a little bit more of that.
Cool. Okay. Well, I've given you almost 20 minutes to think about your superhero.
Yeah, I will dedicate this actually to somebody who I know at the back. And this is the Lobster Regurgitator. His power is to hold down. He's not got lobster pincers, but his arms have the proportional strength of lobster pincers, allowing him to hold people down and pin them to the ground, where he will open his mouth big like a snake eating an egg, and then just tons of lobsters come out of it. He just buries them in lobsters, and then they can't get up, and then he phones the police up on his cell phone. He's got a reasonable coverage plan. Bring the cops round.
Do the lobsters go away afterwards?
No, the state has to pay to clean those up. To be honest, it's actually worth more to the council to just let the criminals keep robbing.
That's fair.
There's a moral issue with it.
All right, Maya, you were a point. Maya approves. All right, well, thank you so much for calling in, Jim.
Yeah.
Not so.
We always love having you, and hopefully we'll see you again next year.
Yeah.
Because we will most definitely be back, I'm sure.
Well, good luck with the rest of your endeavors and your journeys. And yeah, I don't envy the long journey.
long journey.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I envy your bed. But
Yes.
Alright.
Sleep watch for all of us.
well, for all of us.
So
All
speaking
right.
of